Hello Africa, good to see you again. Welcome to World of Africa on WION The World is One. Cape Verde wasn't supposed to have a chance against Lionel Messi and the Argentinian team. Instead, the tiny West African nation pushed the defending World Cup champ to extra time and a narrow 3-2 loss. It was the smallest country in a tournament history to advance to the knockout stage, and now the roughly 550,000 person island nation is finding a new audience among millions of World Cup viewers. The global attention could help diversify the island nation's tourism industry, which has yet to truly crack source markets outside of Europe. While tourism makes up roughly a quarter of its GDP, it is largely dependent on European travelers visiting just 2 out of 9 inhabited islands. More about that shortly. The show starts now. Insurgents attacked several towns in northern, central and southern Mali, targeting army bases and a prison near the capital Bamako. The assaults involved the Tuareg separatist group called FLA, which seeks an independent Azawad state in northern Mali, and Jainim, which aims to impose strict Islamic rule. The violence, along with attacks in April, revealed the huge security problem facing Mali's military leaders, who staged coups in 2020 and 2021, promising to end what is now a more than decade-long uprising. In the wake of fresh coordinated attacks in Mali by jihadists and their Tuareg allies, the country's junta appears more threatened and isolated than ever in the capital Bamako and the nearby garrison stronghold of Kati. Just over 2 months after launching a major offensive that weakened the military rulers, Al-Qaeda-linked Jainim, jihadists and Tuareg FLA separatists carried out a new wave of assaults in localities that stretched across the country. The jihadists and their separatist Tuareg allies again fought to control a key camp in northern Mali, where Russian paramilitaries and forces from the country's military junta have been holed up.
Indeed, the logic of the government appears to be a military solution to regain territory that it has lost to the jihadist groups and the separatist Tuaregs. Whereas Jainim's solution, their logic is more really social religious engineering project. So the approaches are very different with respect to control and governance of the local population. It is true that both the government and Jainim have pushed back on any kind of negotiations.
The demonstration of their ability to harass the central government laid bare the junta's difficulty in controlling the vast Sahel nation. The rebels attacked several key towns in the north and center, as well as one of the country's largest prisons located a few dozen kilometers south of the capital. The coordinated attacks by Jainim and FLA are intended to overwhelm the Malian Army and Africa Corps, and they appeared to be successful at that. Faced with what seems to be a strategy to wear down the central government, the junta is struggling to maintain control.
This is a new turning point and at the same time a new phase of insecurity that is extremely worrying in my view, and it doesn't concern Mali alone. If people think it's only about Mali, no, it's not just Mali. If Mali falls, the whole Sahel will follow and the repercussions will be incalculable.
Junta leader General Assimi Goïta came to power following 2 coups in 2020 and 2021. Under his leadership, Mali has turned its back on former colonial ruler France, which had maintained a military presence in the country, and pivoted instead to Russian paramilitaries from the Wagner Group, which has since been replaced by Moscow's Africa Corps. Meanwhile, the capital Bamako has not been spared. For months, it has endured blockades by Jainim intended to strangle the economy and cause fuel shortages. Africa Bureau, WION World is One. Senegal's constitutional reform continues to split the country's political landscape. The controversial constitutional reform was eventually passed in parliament by a majority vote of the ruling PASTEF, African Patriots of Senegal for Work, Ethics and Brotherhood Party, amid great confusion over who supports whom in the escalating power struggle in Senegal's top political positions. However, there is no victory for anyone to celebrate just yet. President Bassirou Diomaye Faye refused to sign the bill, announcing that a referendum will be held instead.
Mayhem outside and inside Senegal's parliament. Police fired tear gas to disperse scores of protesters outside parliament. As lawmakers debated the constitutional amendments, inside the chamber, tensions also ran high, with opposition MPs staging a walkout in protest. PASTEF, which has 130 of the National Assembly's 165 seats, said the changes were aimed at strengthening the separation of powers across Senegal's executive, legislature, and judiciary. But the opposition views the initiative as political revenge by the former prime minister, who retains significant influence over the parliamentary majority. During the parliamentary debate, Justice Minister Moussa Sarr announced the president's intention to submit the matter to a public vote through a referendum. But Sonko questioned whether the president had the authority to do so, saying the reforms had been validly adopted with the backing of a majority of lawmakers. The opposition and various civil society organizations have criticized the amendments and called for an immediate withdrawal of the bill.
At the end of this work by the committee, we once again submitted the work to the President of the Republic, who took his time to review the texts, and particularly the text on the Constitution. If there has been any tampering, it comes from the President of the Republic, because he took the text and started looking at what suited him and what did not suit him. The Constitution does not belong to Bassirou Diomaye Faye.
Even if he is not the party's president, he can, from that point on, take part and continue to exert influence. That is why the president is calling for a realistic approach to this text and for maintaining the status quo, meaning leaving it up to the head of state to decide whether or not he will lead a party or a coalition.
Senegal's lawmakers have passed a controversial constitutional reform that expands their powers while curbing those of the president, triggering protests outside parliament. The reforms were passed by an overwhelming majority after heated exchanges in parliament, underscoring an escalating power struggle between President Bassirou Diomaye Faye and his former ally-turned-rival, parliamentary speaker Ousman Sonko. The government said the reforms would be put to a national referendum, although no date has been announced.
A decision of such magnitude cannot be taken without directly consulting the Senegalese people. That is why we believe that a reform of this importance naturally falls within the scope of a referendum, the only mechanism that allows the sovereign people to decide their own institutional destiny.
Faye and Sonko came to power together in 2024 on the promise of sweeping reforms, but their alliance has recently fractured, fueling political uncertainty in the country. Relations between the president and his now former prime minister deteriorated over several months, with Sonko openly criticizing Faye for his handling of Senegal's debt problems. It came to a head in May when Faye fired Sonko as prime minister, but Sonko, whose PASTEF party has a majority of the seats in the National Assembly, was chosen by MPs as the parliamentary speaker. The constitutional reforms proposed by PASTEF party would strengthen parliamentary oversight by expanding lawmakers' investigative powers, requiring the government to disclose agreements about natural resources to Parliament. Africa Bureau, WION, World is One.
Tourism, integral to Cape Verde's economy, is showing signs of rapid growth. Now, the public and private sectors are looking at ways to create infrastructure on the ground and online to ensure a sustainable industry in Cape Verde.
Coming from an archipelagic nation in the Atlantic with a population of only about 550,000, this team has not only drawn consecutive matches against Spain, Uruguay, and Saudi Arabia in this World Cup, but also pushed defending champion Argentina to extra time in the knockout stage. The Cape Verde national football team, the Blue Sharks, brought massive tourism to the islands by qualifying for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Their Cinderella story caught global attention. Travelers swarmed the archipelago after seeing the team's historical success. So how did the team boost tourism so much? Well, the team became the second smallest nation to ever play in the tournament. Millions of people who had never heard of the country searched for it. Following the matches, U.S. travel searches to Cape Verde grew by over 800%. German searches grew by 177%. Goalkeeper Vozinha became a viral star overnight. His social media following exploded. This drew massive new fan interest to the culture and beauty of the islands. Tour companies saw inquiries double, causing a nearly 20% jump in immediate bookings.
Oh, Vozinha is absolutely amazing. He's really been able to perform for Cabo Verde very well, and we should be very proud. He's just excellent, and without him and the rest of the team, we wouldn't be where we are now.
I am proud of Cape Verdeans. I love my people. Wherever we go, may we be respected as Cape Verdeans. We love our football and would like to go further because, for my part, wherever I go, I will always speak about them.
For us, it's good as a team, as a country. We are a small country, but we have a big heart.
A key factor in the team's popularity has also been Cape Verde's large diaspora. Around 1.5 million people of Cape Verdean origin live abroad today, mainly in Portugal, the Netherlands, and the United States, creating an impressive atmosphere in stadium stands and turning every match into a celebration of national pride. The increased interest in the country is already translating into tourism growth. Cape Verde enjoys around 350 days of sunshine per year and is a popular destination for kite surfing and windsurfing, thanks to the steady Atlantic winds. The islands of Sal and Boa Vista attract most visitors with their endless sandy beaches, while the Paul Valley on the island of Santo Antão stands out for its striking volcanic landscapes and hiking trails. In recent years, the country has steadily invested in tourism, positioning itself as an authentic alternative to the Canary Islands, combining Portuguese and African cultural influences, as well as the famous Morna music made internationally known by the voice of Cesaria Evora. Africa Bureau, WION, World is One.
Parents in Guinea face stigma and challenges if their child has autism in a country where few resources are available to support them. But one school offers a ray of hope, helping those with the condition to get an education. Here is their story.
Kadiatou Diallo and her son, Kazaliou Balde, stroll under the trees in her village, Fria. Kazaliou Balde's parents started worrying about him when he was a small child. He avoided eye contact and had difficulty communicating. First, the family in the West African nation of Guinea turned to a traditional healer who suggested protective amulets. Then, as the boy dragged himself along the ground instead of walking, they took him to a hospital in the capital, Conakry. He was diagnosed with autism, something the family had never heard of before. Neither had their neighbors. Some of them made rude comments about the child. Some suggested that Diallo take her son to the bush and leave him there.
Those words really hurt me a lot. Even so, I took him with me while I sell at the market. It was hard because he had trouble sitting still.
Misconceptions are common around children with autism in parts of Africa that lack reliable data, awareness, and government support. Some mistakenly attribute autism to evil spirits. Experts say the misconceptions have often delayed diagnosis and brought stigma for children and their families.
In our Guinean culture, children like this are rejected. It is a real ordeal for the parents. The government must step in and help these families.
Guinea's government does not keep records around autism. The World Health Organization says about 1 in 127 people worldwide had autism in 2021, but it notes that the prevalence in many low and middle-income countries remains unknown.
We're here fighting because we've come to understand that these children are precious. They just need help, support, and guidance on how to navigate life and how to live as part of the community.
In Guinea, a nation of about 15 million people, only a few schools cater to children with autism, and they can cost up to $300 per month. Not many families can afford it in a country where the minimum wage is $65 a month and where 43.7% of citizens live below the poverty line, according to the World Bank. But Salem Foundation for Children with Autism is a rare free school for autistic children. Children are taught basic things like identifying objects and assembling toys, as well as everyday skills such as operating a TV remote. Africa Bureau, WION, World is One.
South African artist Credo Daniels is among a growing number of African musicians using artificial intelligence to create music. While supporters see AI as a powerful creative tool, critics argue that it raises important questions about originality and the future of artistic expression. Here is Credo Daniels' story.
South African musician Credo Daniels has found himself at the center of a growing debate over artificial intelligence and creativity after a performance featuring AI-assisted music sparked widespread criticism on social media. Videos from Daniels' recent Johannesburg show trended on TikTok and X, where users questioned both his live vocal performance and the role of artificial intelligence in music production. The backlash has highlighted a broader conversation playing out across the music industry as artists increasingly experiment with AI-powered tools for songwriting, production, and vocal enhancement. Ahead of taking the stage, Daniels warmed up backstage before performing tracks created using AI-assisted workflows alongside a live band. While some online critics argued that AI could undermine artistic authenticity, others viewed it as another technological tool in the evolution of music making. Daniels rejects the idea that AI-generated music is simply produced through text prompts.
I feel like people just throw around the word AI, but don't really know what goes into making music via AI. Yeah. So most think he just wrote something and then it spit out a song. They don't think that, there was writing involved in the song, there was recording involved in the song, there was composition involved in the song. I think they just throw that away and then think, he just typed something. So there's a lot of misinformation about AI.
The controversy reflects growing concerns within the creative sector about where technology ends and artistry begins. Questions around copyright, authorship, and consent have become increasingly prominent as AI tools become more accessible to musicians. Intellectual property lawyer Ian Alice said, "The legal concerns arise when AI systems use existing creative works or imitate artists without permission."
It's got to be understood that from music, there's a certain composition where there's a common denominator of music, and this was even seen and displayed, I believe, by Ed Sheeran several years ago, when there's certain chords that are shared by all musicians in order to create a certain melody. That is one of the factors that has to be considered, but then it can't be allocated strictly to somebody's own intellectual property, because it's just not a new creation. But the problem is with this, when they utilize AI, they're taking an existing piece of work without a person's consent at using it, and that is where the problem in actual fact comes.
At the concert, audience reactions were mixed. Some attendees raised concerns about the limitations of AI in a live setting, while others embraced the technology as part of music's future.
He's engaging with the crowd, so we need something like that. When you go to a concert, you want to be engaged. It shouldn't be just a one-man show. You know, you need to engage with the crowd and enjoy the whole show. So that's very nice.
If we don't participate in the AI movement, we're going to be left behind.
Because that's exactly where we're going.
Yes. So with Credo, what he did is he can sing, he's a lyricist, he's a wordsmith, but he also embraces the technology to enhance his message.
Despite the online criticism, many artists believe audiences are ultimately focused on the quality of the final product rather than the technology behind it. As AI becomes increasingly embedded in creative industries, Daniel's experience has become a flashpoint in a wider debate over innovation, authenticity, and ownership. Questions that South Africa's music industry is only beginning to confront. Africa Bureau, WION, World is One.
Thank you, Africa, for watching the show this week. Get in touch with us on our website, wionnews.com, and social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, YouTube, and also Telegram. And share your stories with us. We'd love to highlight them to the whole world. This is WION World is One. Thank you for watching. I'm Eric Njoka. Goodbye for now.
India's Global Voice, the channel that brings you the biggest stories from across the world through India's lens. Now available in more than 190 countries worldwide, because we believe that the world is one. Watch us in Africa, Europe, USA and Canada, South America, Asia Pacific, Middle East and North African regions. Also available on these digital platforms across the world. WION. World is One.
In this rapidly changing world, is your health keeping pace? Best practices and breakthroughs busting the hype with real insights. The timeless power of yoga and ancient healing. Good food, good mood. Small steps, big impact. Your health matters. Only on WION World is One. Because nothing matters more.
Campaigns, elections, alliances, controversies, and power play. Stories that analyze global and domestic politics. A dedicated